Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you had a good lunch break on this cold and rainy day. We're going to begin just a roll call back in after lunch, and then we'll turn it over to our COO, Matt Vermette, to introduce our next presentation. So if you give me a here, President Glenn McCallum, no, Ottawa. Vice President Michelle Leclerc.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Marlene Hansen. Secretary Hansen.
Here.
Thank you. Treasurer Jeremy Denemy.
Present.
Thank you. Minister Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Minister Leonard Montgrand, Northern Region 2.
Let's see.
Leonard Montgrand. Okay, we'll come back to him. Minister Brennan Maarsii, Northern Region 3.
I'm here.
Oh, thank you, Leonard.
Oh.
Brennan Maarsii.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mr. Ryan Lee Carrier, Eastern Region 1. Mr. Ryan Lee Carrier. Okay. Brent Dignas, Mr. Dignas, Eastern Region 2.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Mr. Darcy Lepwick, Eastern Region 2A.
Here.
Mr. Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3.
Here.
Thank you. Loretta King, Minister, Western Region 1. Mr. King. Mr. Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A.
I'm here.
Thank you. Sherry McLennan, Western Region 2. Nope. Minister Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Wendy Gervais, Western Region 3. No. Youth President Rachel Heiser. Thank you. LFM Interim President Darlene Langen.
Here.
Okay, thank you, folks. Now I'll turn it over to our COO, Matt Vermette, who's going to introduce our friends from MNP.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Just wanted to hop on quickly to thank MNP for joining us today. We've got Susan Mowbray and Craig Tarnagates here to present the M&S Socioeconomic Impact Assessment. And the study is an important study. It's one that's been years in the making. It's something that we really have talked about for the last 4 years. And it came out of an earlier conversation with President McCallum where he talked about the importance of just going beyond the numbers, beyond kind of the accounting statements to start to show and explain the impact that we have on our citizens, on Saskatchewan and on Canada. And so we commissioned MNP after looking at different options and realizing that their previous work with other Métis and Indigenous governments and institutions in this space made them the ideal person ideal firm, to deliver this. And so it's exciting. It kind of gives us insight into the impacts that we're having through all the programs and services that we offer, through the governance dollars that we spend in this province, and really will give us a tool to start to share with our citizens in Canada and other funders that, when you make an investment in M&S and our citizens, there is economic output beyond just the dollar that comes in. And so very excited for this work. And I think it's going to lead to more work in the future and is going to be a bit of a cornerstone study that we'll come back to every 5 years to just check in and see how our socioeconomic impact is changing over time. And always just kind of reflecting on how we're delivering for our citizens and our country and our provincial economy as well. So excited to welcome MNP here today and thank them. But before I do that, I just also want to thank everybody who's worked on this file over the years. So it's been a bit of a long haul. So of course, the SCS team, all the directors who submitted information and outcomes and reporting, support staff that helped along the way to make sure that it got there. So Shannon Landry, Crossland, Andy Arnold, different folks that have helped out. Daryl Baslak helped kind of get it over the last kind of hurdle here, getting through creative and all of that process. And so, just grateful to the whole team for their participation, and hopefully everybody finds it as useful a tool as we do. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. So we'll just turn it over to Craig and Susan. And Craig and Susan, if it's okay, you guys go through the entire presentation, and then I'm sure we'll have some questions for you, if that's all right. Excellent.
Perfect.
I'll hand it off to whoever's going to speak first. There you go, Craig.
Thank you, John. And thank you very much, Matt, for the opening comments there. Susan and I are honored to have an opportunity to join you in your meeting today. MNP really does value our relationship with the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan, with your government, and the partnership that we have for working together. And I just really want to pick up on one of Matt's comments where he talked about the support that we had from the team and the organization at the MNS. We really had to rely at MNP on a lot of different information to be able to compile the analysis that we're going to share with you. And just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone at the MNS team for all their support, their timely feedback, and their turnaround of information to be able to make sure that the project was able to advance forward. So my name is Craig Gatarna-Gates. I'm a partner with MNP based out of Saskatchewan, based out of our Regina office. Get a chance to work with clients across the great province of Saskatchewan. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Susan Mowbray. Susan is also a partner in the firm, and she's our national leader for our economics team. And she's based out of our Vancouver office. So great to have her on the line as well. We'll move over to the next slide, please. So Susan and I had the opportunity to share good news with you today as a government and to your citizens across the province. It really highlights the contributions that the MNS has made. And the story today is really one about leadership and the impact that the MNS is being able to deliver and create within the province. So the Métis Nation has really made a powerful mark on Saskatchewan's social and economic landscape. And what we're going to walk through and talk a little bit about on the slides that we have a chance to share with you this afternoon is more specifically about how the MNS is making an impact in the lives of Métis citizens, but also contributing to real economic growth and social outcomes that benefit everybody in Saskatchewan. So how are we able to articulate that? On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about what the purpose was of the study. So yeah, MNP was asked by the MNS to complete a socioeconomic study. And really, what does that mean at the end of the day is MNP was asked to assess and measure what are the economic contributions of the MNS, its spending and the investments that it makes in the Métis space in Saskatchewan, but then also to estimating and understanding what are the social and community benefits and outcomes that are being generated by the MNS as a government. So what I wanted to do today was walk you through some of the key highlights and information from our full report and provide you some of what we think are some of the key pieces of data and information that articulate in terms of telling this story. Obviously, in our time this afternoon, we won't get a chance to share everything. So I would encourage people to get a chance to read the full report for many, many more details and context on our work. And as we turn into questions later and stuff, it's great to have Susan on the call to be able to help with any questions that you have as well, too. So on our next slide over, we're going to just talk a little bit about the role of the Métis people in Saskatchewan and really the significant role that Métis people play in the Saskatchewan economy overall. So today, Métis people in the province proudly contribute to really all aspects of the Saskatchewan economy and are employed across all industries. What this chart shows you on the screen is just the concentration of jobs, the number of jobs by different sectors within the economy. And what's important when I look at this chart, or what stands out to me, is just the number of different areas where Métis people are contributing to economic growth and service delivery within our province. And the boxes that are larger distinguish where there's larger concentrations of employment relative to other parts of the economy. So you can really see that from a jobs perspective, that the majority or a significant number of Métis people are employed in healthcare and social assistance, construction, retail and wholesale trade, plus public administration, education, accommodation, and several other areas. But it really underlines the important impact that Métis people are making from a job perspective in the economy. In terms of the MNS's impact, what MNP did is we looked at the spending and the investments that the organization makes to understand the operational and program delivery that you do and what economic activity is generated out of that. So Susan and the MNP team really would have used 4 key economic measures to capture that particular activity. The first one was output, where it was really focused on measuring and understanding the total value of goods and services that were produced as a result of the investments from the M&S as a government. The second area was gross domestic product, which is really focused on measuring the full value added production through the previous stages, all the various stages of the economic cycle in terms of measuring and understanding that. Obviously, employment, we just talked a little bit about employment, but understanding the number of additional jobs that are created as a result of the MNS's investments. And then fourth, government revenues. What are the total amount of revenues generated for different levels of government within the province as a result of the investments that MNS has made? So the economic impacts were estimated at what we call the direct, indirect, and induced levels. And what does that mean? It really means that it measures the impact through all the stages of a dollar of spending and how it flows through the economy. It aims to estimate and understand the total impact of every dollar invested through all those different stages. Oh, just back one slide. Thank you. In terms of measuring the impacts as well too, when we undertook our analysis, we really looked at activities that were categorized into different functions. So we, as I talked about at the outset of the project, were supported greatly by individual departments and ministries within the government to be able to get an understanding of the different functional areas and the expenditures overall by the MNS. So I'll just quickly walk through the 3 different kind of functional areas that we had looked at. One was operations and administration. This is obviously more internal focused in terms of the internal operations of the NMNS, but it looked at general activities around management, IT, HR, accounting that really support the overall operations of the organization. We also looked at governance and policy and the activities associated with federal, provincial, and municipal governments, and this included areas such as advocacy, contributions to legislation, and public outreach. The third area that we looked at was programs and services, and I think this is the area for Métis citizens that's going to be most visible to them, because it was really focused on the programs and services that are delivered directly to citizens across the province, and it includes things such as early learning, child care, education, housing, health and well-being, and many, many other areas. So the socioeconomic impacts generated by the MNS were really looked at in terms of each of these 3 different categories to really understand what was the initial impact and the full follow-through impacts that were created as a result of the investments in these spaces. All right, here's where we get into, I think, is some of the more exciting information in terms of starting to actually understand some of the quantifiable impacts that were made by the organization. And then we'll talk in a moment more about some of the broader social and non-financial impacts of the MNS. So the MNS has been increasing its spending over time, and really what we noted in fiscal 23-24, that really about 2/3 of spending was focused on programs and services. You can see that the spending has evolved over time, but in particular, the program and service spending has grown significantly. And that's really to be able to support Métis people in the province. So as we move through the next slides, we'll have a better appreciation of what impact has all of this investment had. All right, so this is here where we get a chance to just take a look at the cumulative impacts of the MNS's activities. This is from 2017-18 to 23 and 24. And you can see along the bottom of the chart, we've really sorted the information into two areas. Number one, the impact that was created by the MNS's spending, and secondly, the impact that has been enabled through the program spending as well too. And at the end of the day, we, from an MNP perspective, looked at what's the direct impact of those dollars that were invested, and then the indirect and induced benefits. So this is all of the follow-on as dollars trickle through the economy and translate from person to person or organization to organization within the economy. What are the additional impacts that are created? And you can see from a total perspective that the total output that was economic output that was created by the MNS through this period of time was over $586 million. And this is in addition then to the program spending impact over on the right side of the graph of about $155 million. So very significant economic impact that the MNS and that Métis people in the province are having on our overall economy as well. The next slide has some additional examples about really how the MNS is playing an important role in terms of investing in the future and supporting the ability to be able to grow that economic impact and socioeconomic impact in the province. And I just thought I'd share some of these powerful examples and stories that are highlighted in more detail in our report. The first one's around child and family services. This is an area where that has been expanded, particularly through the Ma-Famille network. The network provides wraparound supports for Métis families, including child and youth programming, parenting resources, cultural engagement, and early year supports to really be able to provide a head start in life for Métis youth. The Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure, including the Departments of Housing and Homelessness, we highlighted in our report some examples of housing and homelessness support to launch the growth of the emergency repairs program, the first-time homebuyers program, and various initiatives around homeless prevention. And those initiatives, such as Reaching Home, that have really collectively supported thousands of Métis citizens in the province to be able to access or maintain safe and stable housing within the province, which I think is an incredible story to be able to highlight. The Ministry of Education as well too, important work that is being done there. Post-secondary and early learning investments through the MNS have been leading towards the education and early learning and childcare portfolios that have enabled individuals to pursue further education and provide children with the foundational early childhood education that's going to be key to the long-term success. And then the fourth one I wanted to highlight was really the Ministry of Health, where there's examples of programs and services offered by the ministry that include areas such as the Medical Travel Assistance Program, the Funeral Bereavement Program, the Wellness Through Our Lands Program, the Patient Advocate Program, and the Nicotine Replacement Therapy Program. These are all great programs that are helping to advance the physical and mental health of Métis citizens in the province. And really, at the end of the day, what these four stories tell are as they provide powerful examples about how the MNS and how your government is having a real impact in terms of changing the lives of people in the province. So in terms of key takeaways, what I really want to underline is that the Métis people have so much to be proud of for the MNS and its impacts. I'm going to just repeat that again, is that the Métis people in Saskatchewan really have a lot to be proud of in terms of the MNS and its impacts. The MNS investments that have been made during the period that we looked at has sparked powerful economic and social returns for Saskatchewan. And the programs that are being delivered by the MNS are driving tangible improvements in housing, education, health, and really the cultural vitality of Métis people in the province. It is this through our rigorous and transparent methodology that has really ensured the credibility of the report and the actionable insights. And I think this is a document and an analysis that the MNS and Métis people can be proud of. It's definitely a resource for you to be able to use with the provincial government, the federal government, and other parties to be able to talk about the positive impacts of the MNS. And I want to come back as well, too, to some of the comments that Matt Vermette had shared at the start. Is I really do salute from, as a professional, I really do salute the work of the MNS to be able to undertake a study of this nature. It really speaks to both the credibility of the organization and the accountability that you would make an investment to be able to demonstrate and quantify the economic and socioeconomic results that have been delivered by the MNS. So at the end of the day, the MNS is really building a stronger, more resilient future for the Métis citizens in the province and in communities across Saskatchewan, one investment at a time. That's the genesis of the story that Susan and I wanted to be able to share with you this afternoon. And I'm going to pause there and turn it back to you, John, as chair. Susan and I would be happy to take any questions from people through the meeting here.
Thank you, Craig, for that succinct analysis and good news that you've shared with us. So I will throw it open to our members of the PMC that have any questions regarding some of the details, perhaps, that they want further information on. Waiting for some hands up here. Nobody has a question. That's a very Craig, I'll just, so ultimately, and you had the numbers across there, what was the ultimate number? Basically, like what does if there's they say, what does the MNS stimulate? What's that number? And then we'll go to Vice President Leclerc.
Susan, do you want to speak to that one?
Sure. So based on at present, and this number is going to change over time as more money gets spent on programs, etc. But the return on investment is basically for every dollar spent, it generates $2 of spending in the Saskatchewan economy, about 25 cents of tax revenue for all three levels of government, so municipal, federal, and provincial, so non-Indigenous non-Indigenous governments. And then in terms of value added, for every dollar spent, it's about $1.12 in GDP. And as I say, that as more money gets spent on programs, those numbers will increase.
Thank you. Vice President Leclerc.
I just want to thank you for the work that MNP has done. This is something that's been of interest to us for especially the last 3 years for sure, for the impact that we've had on Saskatchewan and their GDP and so on and so forth. I guess I could have 100 questions, but I might not ask any of those questions if I had the full report. When can we expect to see the full report so that we can really dive down into the good work that you've both done?
Yeah, I don't know if Matt or someone from the MNS leadership can speak to that.
And I can pop in. Sorry, just trying to see my screen here. So, yeah, so I think that we can release that anytime. The thought was just to have MNP come in, do the presentation, and the hope is to release that this week so we could share the report with you with the PMC today. I don't see any reason why we can't do that. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Any other questions, folks?
Maarsii, Friesen and Maarsii.
Thank you. Yeah. Minister Friesen first, then Minister Maarsii.
Thank you, Chair.
That's what I was going to request.
I would like, if this is possible, for the socioeconomic report to be included in the MNLA package so that local presidents also have access to the report. But I'd also like them to have access prior to the MNLA, so this is a good news story for the Legislative Assembly and Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. Yeah, we'd like to talk about it and be able to talk about all the high points of what this implies for Métis Nation-Saskatchewan with our stakeholders too in the province and also with Canada. I think this is great information for us to have and to share widely. So I'd like to be able to do that.
Thank you, Minister. We can throw that to Matt. Would it be okay to release it to all the MNLA members? And obviously, it's a little too close to the timeline for a printed copy for the MNLA, but they can probably get it in their online binder. Would that be all right, Mr. Vermette?
Oh, absolutely. This is a great news story, and we want to make it as available to everybody as we can. So we will take that recommendation and make sure that it makes its way into the binder. Thank you.
If somebody's
Okay.
gonna,
Yeah, give the folks information. Minister Maarsii, then back to Vice President Leclerc.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the members of MN. Just a correction going forward, we are not an organization, we are a government, and that's the nicest way I can tell you or share that information with you, but I do appreciate all your work and how you emphasize the good work of our Métis Nation-Saskatchewan government, because in 2006, my post-secondary dreams were derailed to a sense that I had nowhere to turn. No Métis Nation government could support me with post-secondary funding. They did have tech and trades available, but that wasn't my aspiration at the time. And so being able to witness the funding agreement being signed in Ottawa with our president and colleagues around the table and others formerly was historic, but also something close to the heart. And then we come in and deliver in less than 6 months post-secondary funding for 247 or 67 Métis citizens that same year. So exciting times, watching our nation grow from a $400,000 proposal-based organization to an operating $280 million or so government is good work to all. And especially if you look at the numbers shared in this report from 2017-18, just over 4 million to where we are in 104 million. With 65 of that being expended directly to programs and services. So those are good outcomes, realities and results that are reaching our communities, our citizens across the homeland. So congratulations, Métis Nation, to my colleagues, to our staff, our public service, and all involved formerly as well. So thank you.
Thank you. So just on my list here for, we're going to go to Vice President Leclerc, then Treasurer Denemy, then EO Quintel, then Secretary Hansen. So Vice President Leclerc.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we check with policy to make sure that they have enough time to put this in the online binders. I mean, I think it's fantastic. We should share this report with everyone. But last meeting, we talked about the fact that we wanted to put something into the online binder. And I know Heather said that it was virtually impossible to get it done before the MNLA.
Yeah.
Okay, she's already said it's going to be in the binder, so we're good there. Thank you. Treasurer Denemy.
This is just a side note, just to make sure that the Q2 variance analysis will be included in the binder as well for any local presidents or other delegates for information purposes. Because will we be doing that? Will that be a presentation?
it won't be the presentation. Audited statements are online for presentation. However, I will connect with finance department to ensure that that's prepared.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Mr. Quintel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to the council and to our government. This is what nation building looks like. You can see it kind of growing since 2017, being able to, focus on governance and then programs and services to our citizens. And I think it's a real celebration and it's historic. So congratulations to everyone.
Excellent. Thank you, Richard. Secretary Hansen.
I just want to say thank you and congratulate everybody on all the hard work that's being done. And when the leadership come to the MNLA and are able to see the document and they'll see it there. There's nothing better than black and white, and the words and numbers speak for themselves. And I'm very proud to be able to be a part of this, and that as we serve our citizens across the homeland. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Any other questions for our esteemed friends from MNP before we let them go? Well, good news is good news. Okay, well, thank you very much, Craig and Susan, for taking time out of your day to share that darn good news with us and for your work on the report. Much appreciate that. And we'll release you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Now, yeah, take it easy, folks. Now to my friends in the PMC, I need a motion to close this meeting and a motion to move in camera. Youth President Rachel, seconder to close the meeting. Thank you, Minister Fullerton. All in favor? Raise your hands. Oh, do we have to poll on that, or like I can't? Okay, I think so moved. Motion to move in camera, please.
Mr. Maarsii.
Thank you, Minister Maarsii. A second. Mr. Dignan, thank you. All in favor, move in camera. Excellent. I want to thank the 94 people that joined us online throughout the day. That's awesome. Have yourselves a great day as Grey Cup champions this week. And for the PMC, we'll reconvene in 15 minutes. So 35 at 1:50, we'll reconvene for in camera.
Hold to see.